The Hunters and the Javelins had been replaced in the fighter force by the English electric Lightning, the first of which had arrived on number 74 Squadron in July 1960. Never before had an RAF aircraft type achieved such a remarkable step forward in performance. With a thrust from each of two engines, with reheat reaching 14,430 pounds, the Lightning could clock up Mach 2 in level flight. It was more than twice as fast as the Hunter, which it replaced. It had a ceiling well above 60,000 feet, and the later marks of the Lightning could climb at 50,000 feet per minute. The aircraft had been designed from the start as an integrated weapon system, rather than as a gun platform, as had been the case with all its RAF predecessors. It carried airborne interception radar and an automatic lock-on system for its two de Havilland Firestreak or red-top air-to-air missiles. Two 30mm Aden guns were also fitted. Spectators at numerous air shows in the 1960s and 70s were astounded to see demonstrations in which the Lightning took off, stayed low to gather speed, and then, after being airborne for only a couple of thousand yards, pulled up into a vertical climb and disappeared heavenwards. At first, the range of the Lightning was somewhat limited. It had, after all, been built as a short-range interceptor. But modifications were soon introduced, giving the aircraft, among other improvements, a large ventral fuel tank, provision for a pair of overwing fuel tanks, and a probe for air-to-air refueling. This was just at the time when air-to-air refueling was starting to be taken much more seriously by the RAF. Flight refueling trials began in earnest with the multi-purpose Valiant B PRK Mark I's of number 214 Squadron in 1959.
Hello there and welcome to Genesis Models. My name's Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be having an inbox review of Airfix's 1/48 scale English electronic Lightning F2A/F6. As you can see, really nice artwork going on there. They also do a 1/72 scale now, because it's January 2014. They did just release the 1/72, which is basically the same as this but in a lower scale. So let's have a look at this kit before we have a really close look and get all of it out of its bags and everything. So as you can see, typical Airfix packaging, where they just get one bag and they just throw everything in there, but they do normally, and they have done, is they have the all your clear parts separately bagged, which is nice, but I mean the packaging could be a little bit better, and everything's just all in there. So let's put that aside. What we've also got in the box is we do have our instruction manual. Not a bad instruction manual. We do have in colour a couple of different markings and stencil placement and stuff, which is pretty nice. Which looks like we've got about 3 markings there, and then we have this really lovely massive decal sheet, which looks like that's going to be really nice as well. So let's have a closer look and get everything out of the bags. So let's get started with the instructions, which again, typical Airfix instructions, or any instructions really. Nice little description about the real aircraft, and then going through the instructions. I mean, there isn't anything major to kind of talk about here. I mean, it's a simple, you get a pilot, seat goes together, cockpit. It's a simple construction of putting our 2 fuselage sections together, followed by two wing sections that go on this. No real problems. We've got these nice big air intakes, which is something you might want to take care of regards to seam lines and any kind of ejector pin marks in there. But as I say, I mean, options wise, I mean, you've got the options to have, like, it's the F2A version or the F6 version, so you've got wing tanks that go on top of the wings and stuff, but really there isn't much in the regards to options. Not very complicated at all. do look out for certain areas where it says to drill this, to put this antenna there for whatever version of the Lightning it's going to be. Weapons, well, I mean, these aircrafts didn't really carry much in weapons anyway, so you don't have much options there. And as I say, you got that weird sort of fuel tanks on top of the wings going on with this one if you want to do that. And then we have 3 sets of markings, which, as you can tell, nice colourful markings actually. This is a good opportunity to do natural metal finishes with this one. Beautiful natural metal finish with this nice blue tail, does look very gorgeous. This one, you've got the nice standard sort of British RAF camo pattern, and I do believe I think that's also natural metal finish on the underside maybe. Yeah, looks like natural metal finish on the underside for that there. And then you've got something a little bit more sort of modern in regards to the Lightning, where you get the whole all-round sort of grey scheme going on there with some nice red tails and wing leading edges, which should also look very nice. But as far as markings go, you can get tons and tons of markings, aftermarket parts sort of for the Lightning as well, which is good. Then we have our decal sheet. Now, a decal sheet, it does say printed by cartographer, made in Italy, just there, which means we know these decals are going to be, you know, the best you can get. And you know, they've literally spared no expense here with the decals. As you can see, there are loads and loads of markings, stencils. The different squadron markings have been nicely separated by a nice line, so you can basically cut one out for whichever set of markings you're going to do. As you can see, you've got 92 squadron here, 11 squadron there. You've got your common decals going on here, stencils, your fire streak and red top missiles just down here, fuel tanks. Everything is really nicely separated, and you've got number 5 squadron just over here as well. So that's really nice for the decals, you know, a nice like 10 out of 10 going on there. Just get out the first sprue, which is our wing section here. So we get to have a look at our surface detail on this kit, and hopefully, as you can see, what we have here is very nice, crisp, in scale recessed panel lines. We've also got a nice bunch of rivets going on in there as well, which just sets it off really nice. Really, there's hardly any flash going on here at all. We do have our flaps over here as well, you know, pretty kind of standard really. Our wheel well doors, well, they are a bit on the bland side, if you can see. I mean, there's just no detail at all going on, you know, this side. On the underside, we do have an ejector pin mark smack bang in the middle there. We do have a bit of recess detail going on as well, but it's not like mega brilliant. It's just sort of almost under a standard, shall we say. But that's one sprue. Our second grey sprue we have here is the underside to the wings. Again, nice crisp recessed panel line and rivets going on there, looking very nice. We've got different tails as well for like different ones. As you can see, we have our flat top, and then we have the round top one as well, which is nice detail going on there. Here we have like our engines and exhausts and air intakes going on here as well. As you can see, our air intakes just here. If we turn them upside down though, on the inside where you want it to be all nice, we do have the ejector pin marks. It's feeling a bit rough in there. It's going to need a bit of sanding to get this air intake all nice, and you want to get this air intake all nice in here because, I mean, it has got sort of like a big air intake right on the front, on the nose, so that's something you're going to want to sort out. Also, the exhaust as well, we do also have 2 ejector pin marks in each one as well, just inside here. You know, that might be something you want to sort out, but the exhaust, to be honest with you, they do get covered up quite a bit, so you could get away with that. And that's that one. Next one, we have a bunch of little parts on here, and what we've got our tub, our cockpit detail. Cockpit detail isn't looking, you know, too brilliant. Ejector seat does look pretty half decent though, to be honest. Not looking too bad at all there. Instrument display panel is just here, looking quite bland, a bit below average, but you do get a very nice looking pilot. So although the cockpit details is looking a little bit below average, by putting that pilot in there, which is a pretty damn good pilot I would say for out of the box, you can kind of hide all that. So if you don't want to put a pilot in there, I'll probably recommend you get some sort of photo etch just to kind of make up for this being a bit on the bland side. But the ejector seat, as I say, is rather nice. We've got our missiles here as well, which are also looking very nice, and the ejector pin marks aren't looking too bad on this sprue as well as our nice landing gear on there, looking rather nice. Flash is very kind of low on this kit as well. Last grey sprue here, which is like the main one now, and this is our big fuselage sections. I mean, this is two big fuselage section pieces, and it is very, very nice, to be honest. Very good for Airfix. I mean, hopefully what you're going to see here is all this absolutely very gorgeous recessed panel line detail. I mean, I have seen better, but this is definitely above average for surface detail, I must say. We have all sorts of recessed rivets as well going on here. It is all very, very nice, and even when you go around those 90 degree angles, you know, it doesn't fade. The recessed panel lines don't fade, and it's just the same on our second half fuselage section. Looking very nice. As you can see, as I rotate that in the light, that surface detail is gorgeous. And not only that, which is also important with this kit, the plastic doesn't feel at all rough or anything like that. It is very nice, very smooth, and quite nice and shiny, which is very important, because this kit is one kit you're potentially going to go off and do natural metal finish, and when it comes to spraying natural metal finishes, you know, your surface needs to be, you know, neon perfect, because natural metal finish paints normally bring up all sorts of you know, any imperfections. It brings it out a lot more. So it's really good that this kit is so nice and smooth going on there, hopefully, as you can see there. So coming to the dreaded canopy. Now the canopy, looking at this now, is actually not too bad. I mean, it's pretty good. We've got no cracks, no real scratches or anything like that. A little bit on the dull side, only a bit. It could be a lot more shinier, but this is something that I would definitely go off and sort of, you know, maybe dip in future, or at least give it a damn good polish, and that should be a rather nice canopy going on there. So that's pretty damn good from Airfix, and that is basically the kit. Now the kit costs about £30, which actually is not a bad price for what you get. It's really actually very nicely priced, and I've just wrote down my scores for this kit, and I've decided to give it an 8.1, which is considered here at Genesis Models to be an above average score. It marked very well in decals, surface detail. With all Airfix kits, I mean, it got a bit of a poor mark for packaging, because they always just slap it all into one bag. But those are the kind of the main marks to kind of note. So this is definitely a well recommended kit. It's scored a nice 8.1. Recommend it to anyone. I've built loads of them before, and they fit together really, really nice. No major issues. I mean, it's okay, it's not perfect, but you don't have any major issues with this kit. It will be a very enjoyable kit to put together. So I hope you've enjoyed that. My name's Bobby Waldron, and this is Genesis Models.